Within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. The flickers, we get lost in the crowd, it's getting thicker. We get away from the drinks and chatter. Haven't said a word, but it doesn't matter. Feel the air get thinner. I'm standing in a blurry dream. No one else can see us. Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away. Feel the air get thinner. I'm standing in a blurry dream. No one else can see us. So let us dance this night away. Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away. Bodies move to the groove and the light that flickers. We get lost in the crowd, it's getting thicker. We get away from the drinks and chatter. Haven't said a word, but it doesn't matter. Feel the air get thinner. I'm standing in a blurry dream. No one else can see us. Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. standing in a blurry dream. No one else can see us, so let us dance this night away. Live your life within the moment.
They washed and scrubbed again and again and again. The people that we saw in the video leave behind these really huge shoes to fill. This transitioning class of educators from District 7 leave us with more than 900 and nearly 1,000 years of combined experience that we have to replace. We have to replace more than 300 years of experience in food service, transportation, and custodial expertise, more than 200 years of combined service in regular ed teaching, over 250 years of combined service to our schools and offices, classrooms, technology, safety, and finance. Plus, this group of educators leaves a whole of more than 200 years of special education experience to try to fill. Good luck, Todd. Good luck, Vanessa. We do hope for our sake that many of these people will come back to us. Selfishly, we hope that they will share their experience and be District 7 substitutes, volunteers, and we hope that Sherry will come back and help the Director of Operations figure out what the heck he's doing from time to time. We also know that you've seen and heard people will become golfers, fish catchers, beach bums, master gardeners, world travelers, grandparents, and hopefully people who actually get enough sleep. So for everybody that made a difference in the lives of our children and their 900 to 1,000 years of combined experience, on behalf of the district administration, we thank you for your service to the lives of our kids.
Thank you, and I think the school board echoes that sentiment of gratitude and appreciation. So we thank those who have served so faithfully in our district, and we are grateful for those who continue to serve and work here. So we will go on to 2.4, our Seal of Biliteracy recipients. And so Vice Principal Napier, who looks much different.
I know, but a little makeover. Stepping in for her, we thank Ms. Napier for putting together our presentation tonight, and we have a little PowerPoint, if we could get that up for people, on the Seal of Biliteracy. Just a little background on this. This is the fourth year you will have seen either a PowerPoint of our students or them giving a video of what they have earned, a little overview of that, or you've seen them in person. We have 5 of our 8 students who earn the seal that are here tonight. And in just a moment, you will see the different languages that they have earned the seal of biliteracy in. The 3 languages represented other than English tonight are Spanish, German, and Bulgarian. Yvonne unfortunately is not able to make it tonight, but we honor him, and Nicholas Rist, same for him. We recognize his accomplishment, and then Jeremiah Perko also is not able to be here, but we have 5 other students who are here. If we can't get the PowerPoint up, I'm going to just go ahead and introduce them, and we will have them. I'm not going to introduce them, actually. They're going to introduce themselves in the language they earn the seal of biliteracy in other than English. I want to emphasize this is not easily earned. We're talking about listening, speaking, writing, and reading in 2 languages at a very proficient level. They also had to give of their own time to earn this. It wasn't just awarded to them. They had to take time out of their school day to demonstrate proficiency in each of these areas. So very proud of them. Also want to thank, on a separate note, other than a student, Leslie Islama Cruz, who's here tonight for any interpreting needs we have. Thank you, Leslie. All right. So each student is going to come up. If you all, the 5 of you are here, if you'd come up behind me real quick. And so we can all have you here, and they're going to introduce themselves in the language in which they earned the seal, other than English, and they are going to talk about their future plans, what they're going to be doing in the future, and why it was important for them to earn the seal of biliteracy. Okay, I'm going to step on it.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Maritza Nay Ledesma. Estoy muy agradecida por estar aquí. Mi plan a futuro es estar primero 2 años en el colegio comunitario y después transferirme al colegio de Ashland para seguir mi carrera como pediatría.
Hola, me llamo Isabel Pedraza Redlinger. Voy a ir a la Universidad de Oregon para estudiar ciencias ambientales. El sello bilingüe es importante para mí porque el sello representa a quien yo soy y también abre las puertas para comunicar con gente de varias culturas. Gracias.
Hola, mi nombre es Lisa Guadalupe Cervantes Mendoza y mi plan después de Grants Pass High School es ir a colegio comunitario a estudiar trabajo social, y este sello significa mucho para mí porque me va a abrir muchas puertas en el futuro, y también gracias a mis padres que me pudieron enseñar el español que nunca tuve la chance de aprender en la escuela.
Buenas tardes, soy Camila Salinas Cruz. El próximo año estaré estudiando en la Universidad de Seattle Pacific en el estado de Washington y estaré estudiando negocios internacionales. Y este sello significa mucho para mí porque me está abriendo muchas oportunidades tanto ahora para el futuro.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Abe Selvas y mi plan para el próximo año es atender la Universidad de Stanford en Palo Alto, California. Ese certificado significa mucho para mí porque es una conexión a mi familia y a mi cultura. Gracias.
All right, one more big round of applause for all our seal biliteracy earners. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, congratulations. All right, we'll move on in our agenda. Item 3.0, our consent agenda. We will entertain a motion to approve all 3 of these items, which is our board agenda for this evening, our draft minutes from our May 10th meeting, and then also out-of-state travel to the NAREA National Conference in Atlanta, Georgia.
Member DeLaGrange, so moved.
Member Wilkins, second.
So it's been moved and seconded. Tanya, did you get those? Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Thank you. I also forgot to mention, we do have Debbie Brownell on Zoom. Debbie, are you still there? We just want to acknowledge that Debbie did arrive. I did see her picture up there. So we do have all of our board members here this evening. All right, moving on to 4.0, our reports. We will do 4.1, Director Evans and Shauna Bland. We'll turn the time over to you.
Thank you very much. We have a new tool in Grants Pass School District that we are in the process of transitioning to. It's called Naviance, and we're here to give you a little snapshot of it today. As you know, we have a huge focus in our district of helping students dance and groove. Yeah,
Live your
here we
life
go.
within the moment.
I don't want the PowerPoint, I need the handout. And thank you. So, we are committed to helping students graduate from high school with a plan for their career or their college of choice, whatever their post-secondary plans are. We're here to help them prepare for it. In your board packet, you have kind of an overview of college and career exploration and planning, but I would tell you Naviance is so much more than that. For us, graduation requirements are something we attend to, and one of the graduation requirements is to meet all the personal learning requirements that students have. That includes their plan and profile, developing a 4-year plan that then helps them with what they're going to do post-secondary, to write a resume, to be ready for whatever comes after that. Starting in middle school, students will start to use Naviance as a tool to explore college and career opportunities. They will start to develop their individualized plan, Mr. Richardson, to get towards what their personalized learning plan based on what their interests are. And as they move through school, there will be different touch points. We've put the scope and sequence in the board packet for you as well, where students in 6th grade will touch their account in Naviance all the way through 12th grade, finishing with completing their resume and some other tasks that we will have for them. The nice thing about Naviance is it has a parent component, so parents will be able to see what their students' plans are as they move through secondary schools and explore their interests. Shauna is taking the lead for us, with our College and Career Center. She has done a phenomenal job, and she's taken the lead on getting this product up and going. We've already used it with our incoming 8th graders who have set their plan for their freshman year, and then next year we'll develop it for the remainder of their high school experience. She's going to share some screenshots with you to give you just a sample of what the product will do.
Okay, so the screenshots, we're trying to give you a sample of what the students will actually see with the tool today. Not the teacher side, but there is a whole different side for the teachers that's very extensive. But this side's a little bit more fun to explore and get a true idea of what the tool looks like. So if we go to the next slide, when a student logs on and it's automatically set up for them to log on through their single sign-in with the district, they will log on and come to this home screen that looks similar to this with their name, welcome, and their name, not Demo Bland, at the top, with about 6 different options at the top, in the middle, and then an About Me option and other search tools and help items on the right-hand side. Big area in the middle for them to easily see some of the key points that they would utilize. So from here, we'll just kind of talk about those different options across the top bar there. So on the next slide, we'll go into self-discovery. And I'm pretty excited about the self-discovery option because these are nationally recognized tools to start checking out maybe what they're interested in, but also their strengths and skills. And there's 8 different tests that are up here that each student will get a chance at some point between 6th grade and 12th grade. And all the tests except one, you can take multiple years to reassess what am I interested in. Things from just a career cluster finder that we'd start them off with in 6th grade, exploring the big picture of careers. There's a career interest profiler that we'd have them do in 10th grade. Career Key is a 7th grade assessment that we would have them explore. And there's the intelligence That's something that you just kind of are born with, so you'll take that once. There's a learning and productivity, a personality, a skills, and strengths explore. So those are the 8 different areas, and on this sample, there's one that the bottom right is the Strengths Explorer. I've completed that assessment, so I can go back and view results if I would like to. The top left corner is one that I started but haven't completed, so the student can easily see their progress or simply start the self-discovery test when it's assigned to them. All right, so that's a pretty broad, something for everyone section for self-discovery. The next tab is on the course planner, and this is the tool that we've already utilized with the 8th graders to start planning out what classes that they want to take during high school. And this was one of the big reasons that we were interested in this tool, is because this tool will replace the out-of-date system that we've been using for that 4-year planner that the students are required to have. And the request that the students place into the course planner easily transfers over to PowerSchool. So right now we're using the requests that the 8th graders put in and are generating what they actually are going to take at high school. And so this sample that is up on the board shows you what is required. 24 credits are required to graduate. So far I've created a plan with 18 credits on it, and there's 6 more that I need to come up with as far as what I would like to take. And you can only see the top little bit of the different categories, but it breaks it up into English, science, math, and shows you the different requirements. And then it also is linked to the course catalog, where a student could easily see what classes are available for them in each of those grade levels or categories overall. So it was very successful. We had over 90% of our 8th graders, I think, complete the tool the day that we went there, and then the remainders were able to finish it within a week of that initial day if they weren't there. And that was just for them to plan out their 9th grade year, and then moving forward, we'll have them do a 10th, 11th, 12th grade one each year. They'll update that, but they'll start in their 9th grade year by planning out the rest of those 3 years. So that's Career Planner, and then the next section that they will be using as a tool is the Careers section. In the Careers Explore section, there's 3 main categories that run across the top. One is careers, which you can see here that you can do a general search for different careers. This is just the very beginning of the alphabet, so there's some there's accountant and other ones that are similar to that you can just peruse through, or you can start making search categories to see what. Maybe a student wants to make a certain amount of money, so they can say, okay, there's a minimum amount of money, or I can only stand this much more education in order to get to the career that I want to get to. Or I love school, and I'll go to school for how many years to become a doctor? Yeah, okay, there you go. 27 years of school to become a doctor. They're okay with that. So it gives them those different ways to search in the careers section, and they get the chance to explore career clusters and pathways. So that breaks it up into 16 broad categories instead of maybe narrowing it down to one area. They can also, in the career section, find work-based learning. And this is a place where we will be able to put in events that we have available to them, whether it's job shadows or internships or other local opportunities to explore career opportunities. So that is the work-based learning section. And then there's another section in this that's on Road Trip Nation videos. They did over almost 10,000 videos where they went and interviewed people around the U.S. in a wide variety of jobs. And then they have like a 3 to 5 minute video clip that students can go and explore and write a reflection on. So that's the career section. Next section is college. In the college section, there's 4 main categories. One is Find Your Fit, and in the Find Your Fit category, there's a search tool called Supermatch. And that's my favorite tool for finding a college option for the students, because they could search by major or location or admission factors, student life, diversity, cost, and a whole bunch of other categories. It's not your typical way of thinking. You can divide it by region. It breaks it down into things that more than just, I want to go to college. I want to have a student life where there's a variety of people, from a variety of different ethnicities even. You can divide it up by that. So that's a pretty cool tool. And they also have college events in there where colleges from around the nation can advertise, hey, if you'd like to come and visit our college, sign up here, and you can go right from that one location. Even 6th, 7th, 8th graders can start researching colleges. And you can start selecting, hey, this is a college I might be interested in as a 7th grader that then can carry over to the next year and you can reevaluate, is that still a college that I want to maybe pursue? Who would normally think in 7th, 8th grade, oh, I might want to go to this college? Maybe not a lot of our students have started thinking about the specifics and looking into why they want to go to a specific college. So they would have the opportunity each year to research those colleges, pick their favorites. It carries over from year to year until they get to their senior year when they're starting to apply to colleges. And that's a chance for them in this program to actually fill out the Common App. They can request transcripts through the school through this application, as well as apply. They can request teacher recommendations and apply through the Common App, but also mark off the other colleges that may not be on Common App. All in one location. We can then on the backside track to see where our students are applying, and alumni can even later on, if we decide to go back and review it themselves or ask for transcripts online through this application as well. And we, at the very last category is scholarships and money. And we are able to easily add in our local JOCO scholarship, which last Thursday we gave away over $500,000 in local scholarships to our students. And, oh, Ryan, are you still? Wow, he's not here still. It was over, I think, 1.5 million overall that our students earned in scholarships. So we can have them start looking at how to pay for it, both locally, at colleges, all in one spot. And it's saved from year to year to year for them to go back and review. So.
Besides colleges, there's also trade school opportunities to explore. It says colleges, but it's really the trades as well. So there's a lot of up. What courses do I need to take at Grants Pass High School in order to get me ready?
They do dial it down. Like I like to dial it down to where college is any further education training after high school, whether it's a 6 education program or 27 years to become a doctor. They have that, they consider all of that college. And so it is all dialed in to where a student can search that are needed throughout the whole school year. So it gives them, they're excited about it from what I've been talking to the counselors. It gives them another opportunity to start touching, getting connected in with the students in those social emotional places that they may not normally get to unless they come into the counseling center. So
Thank you.
Any other questions? Gary, I know you're going to make a comment, so about personalized education. So I'm going to turn the time over to you.
Okay, good. So first off, this is really awesome. And so now I'm going to ask questions and stuff, and that shouldn't be implied as negative. It's just, once I saw it, I'm like, run away to see what it could be. So these might be things that you're talking about that are going to happen a couple of years from now type of thing. So the first thing that struck me, though, was you have data points measured, and it's not 100%. So I'm a little fuzzy. What does it mean if a student isn't making a plan?
We needed to start someplace, and that's our goal for year one. With any new product, we don't want to overwhelm people. We also are learning the reporting, the backside of it, which our trainings haven't helped us with that yet. We'll be able to run reports to get to the 100% of all students completing the different surveys we want them to take. Course planner will be one that we require because it's part of the graduation requirement. So those goals will be changing, but we wanted to start somewhere, and it's kind of what the company also kind of coached us towards, like, don't set a goal too large, have it be something that's attainable in year one of implementation. So that's where we started.
Okay, because I'm thinking, even if they don't cooperate, we give them a plan. And sign them up for stuff. The other part was, I'm not sure whether it would be the 8th grade or 9th grade part, but we offer so many college credits at the high school that kids can actually graduate with an associate's degree. So we've never been able to tie in very well for those students that a 4-year degree might not be their end goal. Things like nursing, welding, that kind of stuff that RCC does really well. They should almost be able to get those certificates or 2 years degrees by the time they finish at Grants Pass. So how would that tie into the program?
And it is a link, last year, the year before, I believe I did a presentation on how to map getting those college credits. There is a link through Naviance that takes you directly to the tool that I created a few years ago for students to explore last year. Yeah.
Wasn't that long ago?
Oh my goodness, it was last year. Yes. That allows them to explore that and further connect with RCC to work towards those degrees. The links are there. RCC has done a major revamp of their website, and so now on catalog, when they click on classes, they can find out if they're college credit classes or not. They can do a search just for college credit classes as well and start exploring that. But I'm pretty proud of the classes that we do offer here. Like you said, you can get that associate's degree if you look into it just a little bit and take a couple of extra classes by the time you graduate from high school.
Yeah, the main thing is to have a plan. We have a lot of kids who graduate with a lot of credits, but they didn't get them in the right places because they didn't really know where they were going to go. So this looks like a great tool to help create some awareness, especially back in 8th grade, that they need this path through high school, that they can do that kind of stuff. So at any rate, I'm really excited about the program. Glad you shared. Thanks.
All right, thank you. And Debbie, I see you back. You're back, so we want to acknowledge your joining us tonight.
Well, I finally got unmuted. Thank you.
All right, well, we're happy to have you. All right, next 4.2, introductory CTE programs at North Middle School. So Principal Blanchard.
Thank you for the opportunity tonight. We've experienced multiple years of disrupted learning, and students have become quite accustomed to cell phones and computers and video games, and all of that has made it really challenging to engage back into school. Not every kid gets excited about walking into a social studies classroom despite all the work that teachers do to generate interest. So it is really, really important that we provide opportunities at the middle school that kids get excited about and want to be at school. One of those happens to be in our music programs, but not all kids participate in music, and even those that do may have some interest in some other areas. The middle schools are not high on quantity when it comes to electives, but we're going to talk about the quality of some of them today. We have two people here tonight that are really, really important to our school. We have programs that we are really, really proud of, one in its inception year and one of them that's been a little more established. Dan Coulter is in the first year of teaching our CTE program, and he'll share a little bit about that, but he has done a remarkable job generating interest and creating excitement for kids. And Chris Jeldirks will be talking about a robotics program. This is one that has been around for a little bit longer. If you read the Courier, recently he was highlighted, his program in there with a number of feature comments and pictures from some of the students in the class. What's really crucial is tying great programs with great people. And if you don't have great people teaching the programs, you're not going to see the success that we do. We have two of the utmost professionals who are really kids at heart, who generate a lot of excitement for their classes. And so I'm going to turn it over to Dan Coulter and Chris Gelderks to share a little bit about CTE and robotics.
Good evening. I'm Dan Coulter, not to be mistaken for another guy that runs around here, looks a lot like me. I'm way cooler. My brother works here at the high school, and we're twins, so we get mistaken a lot. CTE, they came to me last spring and talked about possibly putting together a program for kids to introduce them to the high school programs that a lot of them didn't know about until their junior year when they were looking for other classes to graduate with. And they said, how about we start this in the middle school level so kids have a little bit of understanding of what's to come once they get to high school. So I was in construction for 15 years previously and jumped at the opportunity to watch some kids try to read a tape measure, drive a 16-penny nail, all of these fun things that some kids haven't had the experience to do as a kid. I grew up doing those kinds of things. First off, I want to thank the district for the funding, the belief in me to do it, Tommy, for coming to me and asking me to do it, and for Trish for the amount of support in helping me to get the materials and the tools necessary to make this fly. We're in a classroom right now, which is tough to run a shop in. Hopefully that's going to change next year and we'll get into the old shop at the school. And it was just a last minute, and we didn't know the program was going to grow quite as big as it did. We got pretty lucky, and we're having a great time. The kids are awesome. They've been patient with the moving all the machines outside in the morning, working and putting them all in in the afternoon, but we're having a good time. I'd like to thank Doug Ely. He's got a personal sawmill and donated a ton of material throughout the year for us to plane and prepare for kids to do some really cool projects. And I think there's some pictures up there. Hopefully if we can move forward, maybe we'll see if they pop up. So there's our classroom, and all the machines that are normally in there are presently outside. We could probably, I think that shows them on the next one. They're outside, standing around the machines, getting ready to do some work. There we go. But they're all smiles. Some of them have never been around these machines, worked with tools, any of those kinds of things, and they walk in the room and wonder what's happening in here when they signed up for the class. But as they started to learn, it really has gained some momentum, and we've been having a lot of fun. We've also got a lot of donations from John Glasscock down at Rogue Valley Door has donated a lot of materials as well for some of the projects that the kids have done. And I think the next few are just some of those projects. Oh, this is a picture we got asked by Bill Gladbach to build a Gaga ball court. And I don't know what a Gaga ball court is. I've never heard of it, don't know what it is, so we looked it up. And it's a game they play on the playground, I guess. Is it fun? Oh, yeah, evidently it's a blast. So we ended up building a Gaga ball court and just got it put together today, and it was all the rage at lunch today. So those kind of things the kids are pretty proud of, be able to build something for the school to add a little more engagement during recesses and lunch and things like that. And they had a blast out there today, so hopefully we'll see how long it lasts. Here's some of the projects we did during Christmas. We did a little drive-through Highland did a drive-through, and so the kids thought it would be fun to make some toys to hand out to the cars that come through. And so if we saw little kids in the back seats, we were up there, and some of the kids in the class they'd run up and hand them a toy, all wrapped and everything for them to open for the drive-through, and they had a blast. They made little wooden cars and trucks, tic-tac-toe boards, and then the number puzzles there. And it was exciting to see how important it was to the kids to really engage in something that they could give to younger kids and be a part of that. It was a really exciting time. And then some of their personal projects that they made, they used this scroll saw to cut some things out, and you'll never guess who the windmill kid is. Looks like a Dutch Bros symbol. I don't know, might have been Boersma. So they would scroll saw an image out and then use a wood burner to burn on it to make the design. They put borders around it, made some some frames, things like that. All just some things for them to build, maybe even just a hobby for them to have. And I get notes from parents all the time about, hey, where can I get a wood burning kit? Some even want to, we're going to buy a scroll saw for our kids. Where do we get that? So it really has built some excitement for these kids. I think there's a couple more, some different pictures of some of the things that the kids did in class. The upper right hand one is one of our SPED kids who worked really, really hard on the Fighting Irish guy there. So I was super proud of him. He was super excited about it and did a really neat project. And then I think there's one more. Yeah. The girl on the right, I hadn't seen her face until she took this picture, because she, even after we had gotten away from the mask, she wore it kind of as a, she's really quiet and shy. And I said, I think the board would love to see her smile, because I could tell she was smiling behind her mask. And so she's like, okay, pulls her mask down. But they could create all kinds of projects, the little zombie chasing the guy at the bottom. It's really kind of, I let them, their creativeness come to light and do whatever they like to build these little projects. And then I think that we finally did get a picture of the Gaga ball, maybe. Oh, we did a chicken coop at the end of last semester. So I was talking about my brother's daughter-in-law. They just had a baby, and my nephew got shipped off to Poland for a year. And she was super sad, wanted chicken. So I was telling kids how sad she was, and that I was going to build her a chicken coop to cheer her up. And they said, well, why don't we build it? And I'm like, okay. So we built a chicken coop. And again, you should have seen the passion they had in engaging in building something for somebody else. They were super just excited about it. So they built this chicken coop, and I give my next door neighbor credit. 15 kids driving a 16-penny nail with a hammer, tink, 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 all day long is a lot to listen to, but they've survived it, and they end up making something cool. And there's the Gaga ball pit in the room. We got it together, and then I think there might be one of the playground. I don't know if we got one. There they are. Some of them out there playing in the, so. But it's been a learning experience for me in how to run the class. I'm looking forward to growing it into something more as they get into 7th grade and 8th grade, and they've got some of these skills, and eventually maybe getting to introduction to welding and different things as we build the program. So I've probably talked enough, but I'm super excited about it. I'm grateful. Is there any questions that you might have about it that I might not have answered? All right. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
One sec. We believe in hands-on at North Middle School. So, Dan, Mr. Coulter couldn't bring any chainsaws or anything for you. Start here. Set down. Cut them off the end when we go. But I'm Chris Jeldricks. I just want to first of all give honor to the board and to all the admin that are here today and all the leadership at Grants Pass School District. I really am honored to teach here, and it feels good to call it home after about 5 years in the district. And I just can't say enough about my principal, Tommy Blanchard, and the platform he gives me to teach and be creative and be myself. He was sitting here. I'm glad he moved back there, because I was like, he wants to keep a leash on me. That's probably why he's sitting here. And so he allows me to have my energy, and he directs me and helps me so much. And I just can't say enough about just the good things that are happening at school. So I just want to give everybody honor and the board honor today. Appreciate that. But been about my 5th program here, about 5th year here at North Middle School doing robotics. COVID kind of messed things up, but we're bringing it back. We started off the school year with a $9,000 grant here we got through the Portland Trailblazers Take It to the Courts Foundation. So that really helped out, supplement some of the things that I want to do in robotics. Again, we are big kids, so if I think it's exciting, then the kids, they're going to think it's exciting as well most of the time. And so I was able to get some new stuff with that, some of the things you see there. Next slide. So one of the first things we do in the robotics program is we code games, and this is called block coding. It's not real coding, but there's real code behind the blocks, but it teaches kids what's called the flow of code and how the language works. So we start working through that, and they start making games. So I have a kid right now who's recreated Pac-Man. He's recreating Pac-Man with code in 8th grade. It's pretty cool. So another slide there. And this is kind of what it looks like here. And that kind of reads as a sentence. We go through there. And so forever, if the mouse is down, move the object 10 steps and then play a sound. Looks like a cat sound, meow. And then it's going to change a costume. And then it's going to wait a second. So it's actually going to be looking like it's walking. So what I try to teach them with this basic game making program is that you can go ahead and go to the next slide. You can take and this is the platform called Scratch. It's through MIT, so the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Right there, you have your platform that that's what it's going to look like. But on the left is your code. So down there below in the lower right-hand corner, you have what's called sprites. And so if you click on each sprite, you can code each sprite. And the way you need to think about it is combining all these sprites together with code to make something happen. So Dr. Bloomquist, can you click on that object there? Right in the middle, go ahead and click right there. Yep, yes, sir. There you go. There you go. And can you go ahead and hit the green flag? So now you're the cat. Don't get hit by an octopus, Dr. Bloomquist. You're supposed to collect. Oh, you're supposed to collect those stars. So you died. So, a little bit of lag there. So that's called Star Chaser. That's the first tutorial they make. And you see a score up there and a high score. They learn how to do all that. And they have a little cat that follows the mouse, and they're supposed to collect stars without getting hit by an octopus. And each of those octopus, or octopi, I think that's plural for octopus, they are coded to do different things. One follows the sprite, one does a random movements, and the other one does like a grid. So go ahead, next slide. It's pretty fun. And from there, they move on to different tutorials, and then they get to make any game they want. So another thing we have is a Lego Robotics. The district's well versed with that. That really is the premium coding and robotics that we do at North. You really can't get anything better than a Lego Robotics. So I'm excited this year with the grant. We're ordering about 15 Spike Prime robots, which are the upgrade from the EV3s, and students will be able to use those, and they're a lot more adaptable, a lot more accurate as a robot. But the older EV3s are still really good to go, and it's based on the block programming platform as well. So next slide. And so this is one of the fun things that kids like to do. I'm a child of the 80s, so you have Hungry Hungry Hippos, and we'll do the Hungry Hungry Hippo theme song, and they have to create their robot to put candy in the middle of a table that's on the floor there, and they have to program the robot hands off to grab candy and pull it back to home base, and then all the candy they get to keep. So that student right there has already figured out the bigger scoop I have, the one Mr. Coleman has, the bigger scoop I have, the more candy I get. And so students will come with these huge scoops trying to get all the candy on the table at once. I think I had one student pull it off. And so it's pretty fun. They have a great time doing that. Next slide. And so this is something new this year that I wanted to do. It's called the Arduino kits, and this is a breadboard kit that has different electronic components that you create a circuit with, and then you can code it. So when I was in high school, in Westland High School, go Peyton Pritchard, but in Westland High School, we actually made circuit boards from scratch, and we drilled them from scratch, and we put in all the components from scratch. So this is a lot nicer. It doesn't take as much work, but they're great kits. So next one. So that's the Arduino controller on the left, and then on the right is a breadboard. And so what the controller does is it communicates with a computer, and you can put code into the controller, and then it's wired up to the breadboard. So next slide. Yeah, and this is some different sensors that you could use. And next slide. And then that's the code on the left, and go next slide on the right. And so this is actually real code. So this is Python. with Arduino. It's an online platform we can use. And so this is real code, and it's really awesome to see kids type in real code. And they type in the code, and they have to do it exactly right. There's actually a code checker that goes through each line of the code, and it tells them, hey, there's something wrong right here. And then they have to go back to the book, and they have to find out what they did wrong. And it could be as simple as not putting a period in, not putting a double space, forgetting a bracket, and they go through all that. And but it's amazing that when they finally do it, because I'm a language arts teacher in the afternoon, robotics in the morning, and so, but it forces them to go through line by line like a language arts teacher would want you to read. And so they really have to pay attention to all the grammar, so to speak, of the code. And it's really amazing the satisfaction they get when they do that. Go ahead, next slide. I'm trying to go fast. And here's some students doing the code, or doing the Arduino boards. And next slide. And there's different things you can do. You can get really, there's the nice thing about this is you can do anything. It's a makerspace type of platform. So we can, there's never, the opportunities are endless of what you can do with this platform with robotics. So you can wire up your own lights to your house, make them turn on and off. You can create a security alarm, whatever you can think of. So, and I'm learning, so the ceiling's off on this in my, in my learning curve. Another fun thing I did was to power up airplanes. These are pretty fun because I never got in trouble in school for doing anything. And so now we get to fly airplanes, build them. We get to build them in class, and then and some of the kids, they don't want to follow instructions. And so they have to follow the instructions. They can do it correctly. Then they have to glide it as a glide without crashing. Then once it glides appropriately, then they can hook the power up to it. Then they have to make it glide with the power up on. Then they get to power it up. So those capacitors are. What's not going to That's not 20 seconds. Then you can let it go, and I really want to let it go, but I don't want to make it hurt, so I'm going to go this way. I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, there you go. Okay. And then you got discharge on it. You discharge that capacitor, it shuts right off. So it's pretty fun. So the kids really love these, and as you can tell, your creativity and your imagination with these things really soars. Mr. Kolb, sorry. He has, hold that one up, Mr. Kolb. So he has the 4.0, and that has two propellers in the back, and it actually controls with your smartphone. So it's line of sight. You can actually fly it with your smartphone, and for about 10 minutes. And so once they do this right, then they get to go to that. And with the grant from the Trailblazers, I'm able to get like 15, 20 of those 4.0 power-ups for the kids to fly next year. So in the fall, we'll be flying those around and creating chaos at North Middle School. So really excited about that. Next one. And of course, we have the Spiro robots. We do those, had those for years. And there's a bunch of activities I do with that. I'm running out of time. Next one. One of the really difficult ones is a maze. So the kids will actually take that robot and they'll code it to go through that maze autonomously. So without any type of remote control, start on one spot and end at the other. And next slide. And then I was able to go to Highland, my kid go to school up there and do some tech evangelism, which is something that I really like to do and something I like to do more of. Next slide. And then there's our daily career ad. And their kids are flying drones. Another thing we did, we also bring drones in for about a week, and the kids learn how to fly a drone in the cafeteria. So those are fun as well. So I'm rotating all this stuff through my classes. Next one. Man, I do a lot of stuff. Man, I'm tired just thinking about everything I do. But there you go. But I appreciate the board. I appreciate the opportunity. We're having a blast. The trick is the rigor and the engagement. So if I can keep the kids engaged and keep the rigor there, they're learning something, hold them accountable, keep it fun. That's my goal, and not just play with toys all day. And get them thinking about getting them going through the design process and working through the glitches and understanding that failure is part of the solution. So appreciate your time tonight.
I want to thank both of you for your passion bringing it to our kids in the classroom. Thank you, Tommy, for the open mind.
When are we going to do that at South? Because I'd like to go and help build some airplanes. So
You can go to North.
I know, but my kids don't go to North. So, all right. Yes. Thank you very much. That was wonderful. Let's go on to 4.3, Principal Musser. We're going to talk about our 5th grade outdoor education. So
I'm just going to start it out. I got the people we want to hear next to me. Yeah, come on up, guys. So whenever I'm wearing the principal hat, I always put myself in the shoes of the parents. And I have to say, there was a lot of nervousness for me, for the parents, for the teachers, for the kids going up to outdoor school as 5th graders. I actually drove up separately. I brought all the breakfasts and lunches behind the buses, and it took me about 10 minutes before I was so comfortable and felt so good about it that I could take the principal hat off and just play and have fun with the kids. So brought the teachers here, Kim DeYoung, Kim Beggs, and Kelsey Christofferson. Lila Cottle and McKenna Bassett are 2 of our 5th graders. Ty Rich had to leave early. He's got a baseball game, so he's pitching, so he can't miss that baseball game. But want to give Ty a shout out too. So I'm going to pass it off to the 5th grade teachers. They're going to talk a little bit about where we stayed, and then the kids are going to talk about what they did up there. So next slide.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the layout of the camp, first of all. If you look where it says teacher cabin, it was not the teacher cabin that was that big. That was actually our place that we staged when we arrived. The kids put down their things, and then when we left and they unpacked their cabins, they brought it back down to that staging area. And then the cabins are really cool. They were right up a hill, and the teacher one was actually right behind the bathroom that you see over there. And so, but we were all up in that little area. The cabins were really nice. I mean, not like brand new nice, but nicer than a tent would have been. Most of them had 4 bunk beds in them, so they could sleep like 8 kids. So we actually had, a decent mattress, and it was pretty good. Then if you look over at the dining hall, that was really cool because there was a kitchen area where the cooks would cook and then they would do the dishes. But it was a huge hall, and the other end had a fireplace. And so where you see campfire up there, we didn't get to have a campfire because it rained on us a lot, but we had campfire games and songs inside the dining hall, so we made do. Next to the dining hall, you'll see where it says meds and infirmary. That was really nice because each of us had kids that took medication either after a meal or before bed. And so it was a place where we kept everything, and it was nice and safe, and right next to the dining hall. That way, if they needed it with a meal, it was there. And at the end of campfire in the dining hall, we could give it to them before bed. The grounds themselves were so nice. And there was Lagawa Creek, which was more like a river where they got to do some of their activities. There were walking trails. It was just a dynamite place to go. So we felt very blessed. Okay, next slide.
Next slide, yeah. And I'm going to talk about schedule and routine, because that's my thing. So the schedule was very well organized. The outdoor school had everything really honed down to a T, so kids were not just running around crazy. They had a routine every single day. It kept the students busy doing things that were really engaging for them. There was also a lot of time for bonding and making memories. The outdoor school was very flexible too. We had some weather. We had hail and rain and sunshine and all of those things. And so they did accommodate for changes where it was necessary. For example, the campfire, rather than having it outside, we had it in the dining hall with songs, and we'll get into that part a little bit later. We're going to talk about all the different things on the schedule as we go with the kids here. One of the things that we had suggested as teachers as a change, some of the field studies were about 2 to 2.5 hours long, which is kind of long for a 10, 11-year-old. So we suggested maybe paring that down about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then adding that to the rec time. But overall, it was great. It was structured. It had routine, and it was good for everyone, including teachers and chaperones, to have that routine. Okay, and next slide, please.
So for the cabins, we had all 3 classes mixed together. And when we would do our field studies, we would break into our individual classes again. So our morning gatherings were an opportunity for all 3 classes to come together and go over the day's expectations and to practice mindfulness. All of their mindfulness activities incorporated nature, which was really wonderful. And then they had a challenge to find a rock or a leaf, one for each day. And they didn't really tell us what they were going to do with those rocks or leaves until later. But every time, each cabin would find one that represented their cabin, and they had an area that they would go and place it. And I'll tell you what they ended up doing with those when we get to the closing ceremony slide.
So I'm going to talk about the field study. Okay. So during the day, each classroom participated in a different field study, and so there were 3 different ones. There was soil, water, and trees. And so my class did soil first, and we basically did I notice, I wonder, and this reminds me of, and we picked like an area, and we had magnifying glasses and shovels and just observed things. And then we did water, where we went down to the creek and had nets and found some microinvertebrates and then studied them. And then we did trees, which we went on like a hike and looked at a lot of different types of trees and picked like out one thing, and you would do like I notice, I wonder, and this reminds me of on that thing. And then that is what we did for field study. For recreational time, in recreation we had the choices of making buttons, writing songs, building fairy houses, making bracelets, and going on a hike to the soda springs. In recreation, we got to spend a lot of time with our friends and just have a break. The people who wrote songs performed it in front of everyone at the campfire. The button makers got to design their own button. A lot of us made 4 per day. The hike to the soda springs was a great learning experience to learn more about nature. Recreation was a really fun part of outdoor school.
I'm going to fill in for Ty here and go over some of his notes. The days were extremely packed, and the kids were definitely exhausted after the second field study. So they had time set aside for them to have cabin time, where they would get together in their cabins and have downtime. And I told the girls to jump in at any point if they wanted to add anything in, since I wasn't a part of cabin time. One of the things that he said he liked was social time with his friends before bed and in the mornings. And they had an opportunity to talk and tell stories with one another and connect, especially across all 3 classes. They did that first night, I think it was, they had a fort building competition, which I know all the kids loved. The teachers were able to go and see some of the competitions. So they were able to use the mattresses and pillows and sleeping bags, anything but the bunks. But they could incorporate the bunks, just not move them. And they came up with songs. They had like a huge monkey cave. What are some of the other ones?
Oh, there's a pirate.
Oh, yeah. A pirate ship. It was incredible to see how creative they got with something as simple as a fort. One of the, let's see. He said that he would like them to have more cabin competitions, and I think it would be fun for them to incorporate a few more. With how much downtime they did have during cabin time, I think that it was something that really got them going and got the creative juices flowing. He wished that there was more opportunity for team building and that they could come up with cabin colors or names. He also wishes that they could have done some cabin group projects so that they could work with kids from other classes a little bit more.
Okay, so we broke everything else. We were going to talk about mealtime. So our lunches did come from Allendale, which, helped out our school too, as well as having lunches there. But breakfasts in the morning were pretty nice. The first day we had scrambled eggs, hash browns, and fruit. And then the next day it was waffles or French toast and oatmeal. So we actually ate pretty decent. And Kim's going to talk about the dinner.
And the dinners. So we had, and actually the adults, they did provide an adult refrigerator and lunches for the chaperones. So we didn't eat the peanut butter and jelly that came from the school, which was nice. And they had salads and lots of fruit and those kind of things for us. And then for mealtime for dinner, they had lasagna one night and salad with garlic bread. And the next night it was, the kids loved it. It was chicken nuggets or chicken strips and mac and cheese. And then I think there was some salad for us too. That was nice. But the dinners were great. Everybody was well fed. There was enough food for everybody, seconds, thirds if kids wanted. The other cool thing about the mealtime was there were cabin chores. So some of the cabins, or actually I think every cabin at one point, not everybody got to do it? Okay, so they were going to rotate through. But a lot of the cabins got to come in and help do like a KP duty. And there were even some cabins that volunteered because they enjoyed helping so much. So it was fun. Yeah. Anything else in this room?
No, the only other thing is the people that had food restrictions, they actually worked with that, which was really nice.
Throughout the 3 days that we were there, every time students would complete a field study, they would earn a bead. Every time they completed other tasks, fort building, they would earn a bead as well. So for closing ceremony, one of the last things that they were able to do was earn a bead. And they brought, at the beginning of outdoor school, they asked everybody to bring a bag of soil, each student and the adults. And we really were not sure what we were supposed to do with the soil. So during the closing ceremony, they finally asked us to bring the soil out. And what they did with that soil is they planted a tree for Allendale. And everybody got to incorporate their soil that they brought from a special place that was meaningful to them with the tree that they planted. They also took the big flat that they put all of their leaves and rocks on from their cabin challenges, and they laid it in front of the tree as well. So their nature artwork, the rocks that were special to them, the soil that was special to them, and the leaves that were special to them will forever be there to represent Allendale and the time that they spent. Then we circled up, and they were finally able to pick out what their outdoor school name was. So all of the staff that were there had their outdoor school names.
Skunk. That's Pax.
I was, Osprey, and I was Possum. We were the trash cats. But students were not allowed to choose their outdoor school names until the closing ceremony. And then they got to go around, they got to sign each other's little wood chips. Can you guys hold up your wood chips for me?
Lila brought hers.
Okay, and Ty brought his. So they were able to have the staff members sign them, their friends sign them, and incorporate their newfound outdoor school name on it. Do you guys have anything to add for that? It was,
Lila can walk around and just show you her.
and all the beads that she earned. They also had the exit very well planned. So after breakfast, all the students went up to the cabins, and they had a cabin down. They had a much larger cabin that they brought all their stuff into. So after they did the closing ceremony, the kids were able to go in and grab all their stuff and hike the couple hundred yards back out with it. And it went way more smoothly than I anticipated it going after how tired all the kids were and all the chaos of having so many students in such a small area.
We just had one black sock. Then we had,
Oh,
then we sang
a couple
song.
pairs of pants, like brand new pants that nobody's claimed yet, and one black sock with tags. So if anybody needs some pants, let us know.
Next slide. So we were the first school to go up there, and afterwards we had our principals meeting, and Susan asked me to kind of give an overview to the other principals about the experience. It was all positive, but the one thing I told all the principals as well as Susan is there's no way this could have happened without, one, the organization and work that our fifth grade teachers did to plan and prep for everything, and then our chaperones. If we didn't have that group of chaperones, I wouldn't have felt as comfortable as I did when we were up there. So quality people. So I just want to give them a special shout out and a thank you for everything you guys did. I know Carrie, she was here. Carrie was one of our chaperones. Yeah, couldn't have happened without good help. So good help's important. And that's all we got. Do you have any questions for us?
So did they get a grade for the kids participating in this? Like a class grade? Is this part of their curriculum?
Well, it fits into the curriculum. It fits into our science curriculum, so it fits the standards that we teach. But it's not, we don't grade them on it. It's just a really cool experience for fifth grade and to make some great memories and bonding. Yeah.
Is this going to be taken away from outdoor school for middle school? Yes?
I think that was harder to. Yeah.
That's a Trish and Susan question.
No, I'm looking at Tommy.
I don't get paid enough to answer that.
Yeah, so the outdoor ed is sponsored by Oregon State Extension, and it's a grant, and so we applied for the grant, and that's what pays for outdoor ed. It moved from the middle school to fifth grade. Well, it was meant to move a few years ago, but then we, of course, had an interruption. So this was our first year of getting to actually experience the outdoor ed part of it. There was a little we did some things last year, but it wasn't real outdoor ed. But it just fits a lot better with fifth grade as far as organization. When you have sixth graders having, how many teachers does a sixth grader have? Like 6 or 7? And all of the different classes, it's very, very difficult for us to make it work logistically with sixth grade with the type of scheduling that we have versus fifth grade. That's a single classroom, one teacher. Logistically, we're able to do that. So we've moved it from middle school to fifth grade. Was a long answer to a short question. Thank you.
I was just going to ask, you said that Allendale was the first school to go. Are all the elementary schools doing it this year?
Five of the 6, and so 5 of the 6 are participating. It is a school choice, so we leave it up to them. And then it looks different at each school, not intentionally, but for example, we had one school that has done has had their experience, but they didn't stay the night purely because they didn't have enough male chaperones. Actually, we have 2 schools that tried very, very hard to be able to do that, but you have to have a certain amount of male and female chaperones. They weren't able to get enough male chaperones, but the camp worked with the schools and they still got to go to camp and travel up there. They did one really long day and then one normal day. They just didn't get the overnight experience because it is dependent upon that.
The gentleman up there would like to volunteer.
So Cassie asked me a question, is it a money thing? And I believe the answer to that is no. It's pure.
All right, we'll go to 4.4, our summer school sessions.
Yeah, I think I'm starting, and if our little man in the back of what is the wizard? The wizard in the back of the room, pulling the strings. If you could pull up our link, I'm going to start talking about elementary summer school. So we went live last night at 5 o'clock. And by the time I stopped looking, I think we were at like 350 students registered. It was kind of fun to watch them come in and come in and come in. And when I last looked at 4:45 when I walked up here, we had 470 elementary students signed up for camp, plus 29 for a 3rd through 8th grade tag camp, plus 55 incoming kinders for our kinder camp offerings. So we have a website that you can go to. Todd's got it pulled up there. The elementary school sessions are all listed. So if you could just kind of scroll, Todd, you'll see there are sessions that are geared specifically for kindergarten through 2nd grade. And keep scrolling. Then there's sessions for 3rd through 5th grade. Those, and then if you keep on going, then you have sessions that all elementary can attend. And those all, if you click on them, they have a description, so parents can, or family members can click on there, get a little description of what that camp is.
Opportunities for them to recover. Hours each day.
About 5 kids for the pre-apprentice? Yeah. Pretty excited. Any questions?
Any questions, Brian?
I don't have a question, but
We will go to board reports and special concerns. Do we have anything that needs to be brought before the board's attention? Gary? And then we'll start with Debbie, since we can hear you, Debbie. We can hear you.
All right. I just want, I don't know if Shauna Bland is still there, but she did an outstanding job of running the mock interviews a week ago. And I was able to participate, and it is always such a joy to meet even briefly the students and help them be more comfortable talking to a perfect stranger.
She is here, Debbie, and she heard you loud and clear and is glowing with pride.
First time since January 2020, we got to have in person. Thank you.
Any other? Gary, go ahead.
Well, I guess the first thing I'd like to mention is related to the last, I guess you'd say, walkout. I appreciated that the district followed the policy, met the expectations of the community, kept our relationship with the public safety department. Things went much better this time, and I just wanted to say I really appreciated that. My second thing relates to a budget committee item. We talked about a population study, but I'm not sure we took enough action to make that occur. So I guess my question to you, Kirk, would be, did we do enough to get that population study kicked off, or do we need to act?
I'll have Sherry speak to it. Danny's not here either, but Sherry and Danny working in tandem on that.
Yes, you did do enough, and we've already started with that. So Danny and I actually had a meeting with Portland State this morning about that. So there's more to come on that.
Thank you.
Cliff, do you want to give an update on the scholarship award ceremony that you got to speak at 3 times and bring your ugly wife to?
That was Scott.
Introduced. That was me. I'm sorry. If you weren't there, you didn't understand it. So let me just clarify.
Well, at the end of the school...
I was just assuming that was me. I was your ugly wife. I just need to clarify that. Remember, Cliff, because you were talking about all these women that you brought up to the stage. You said, this is my second wife. So I stood up with you and I said, I'm his ugly wife. So let me just clarify that so that there is no misunderstanding. I apologize profusely to your wife if she's watching. It was me. I am the ugly wife.
Well, I tell you.
Let me backpedal just a little faster on that.
Nettie's probably watching.
I know, Nettie, I am so sorry. It was me.
If I can get a word in edgewise, these year-end, school year-end events are always a gift to the community. Many in the community don't realize what all happens at the end of the year, but it's not all celebration. There's a lot of interaction where we get much closer to the students and celebrate. It's time of celebration. And we've had a couple of excellent, being able to meet with the students and their parents recently at the, the Valsal luncheon. And then just the various opportunities we have to interact with the community at the end of each school year. And that was something that seemed to be as fine as it could possibly be under the circumstances. And it is a time of celebration. And we have an opportunity to get very close to the leaders in the student body, as well as their parents. And so we enjoyed that opportunity. And then there's just a feeling in the air. It goes clear into the time for the graduation ceremonies. And it's just a wonderful way for us to interact with the students on a very intimate basis, and then also with parents and teachers. And so I look forward to it every year, and it's just a treat every year. And it started already, and we're in the middle of it, and we will, enjoy the graduation time. And so I just want to say, as far as the Josephine County Education Fund presenting scholarships through their program that they run for us, it's not one that brings in 2,000 people to observe, but it's in the Performing Arts Center, and the parents are there and other loved ones. And then there's a feeling of success that comes out of that assembly when those folks get together in the evening at 6:30 now to give them more time to finish their program on recognizing the seniors clear until 9 o'clock or later. And this was an excellent situation this year, I thought. And Scott and I were able to be there and interact with the students, but also the teachers that were involved, the other supporters of the school district that sort of come out to celebrate this time of year. And it was very gratifying and very impressive to see that there were 17, I guess finally 18 was the final count I heard, may have changed, subject to change, but of the valedictorians and salutatorians. And I know that's a huge number, but every one of those 18 is qualified to be a valedictorian or salutatorian. And by celebrating that, it gives them a send-off into the world as graduating seniors. They worked hard, and there are so many grade point averages that are up at the very top, 5%, 8%, whatever worked out, because it's a changing situation. But it's very gratifying to focus not on all the problems we might have with COVID things and things we really don't understand it well, but we do understand an outstanding graduation class, which this is, as usual, but it's even more than normal. And so to see the students that rise, to the heights of not only 4-point GPA, but above, now that we offer that, and then to meet with them and be able to celebrate that. And all their peers are sitting there on the stage in the Performing Arts Center, and they're all rooting for all of them, everybody on that stage. And it's a wonderful thing to see, and it tells us that everything that happens in our program is celebrated at that time and recognized in terms of numbers. And if I don't know what the final number on graduation will be, whether it was, last I heard, it might be 366. That's a very large class. And to see 18 valedictorians and salutatorians, and that is a big number. But you attend that session, evening session, and you realize that this is a special group, and we need to celebrate. And we forget all about the negatives of the COVID and everything that's been haunting everybody, and it's too easy to focus on the negatives, but to focus on the positives. Our students are second to none, I'm absolutely convinced. And to have them recognized with scholarship awards, I don't know what the numbers are for sure, but it seemed like it was $400 and some thousand worth of scholarships, and maybe even a bigger number than that for all kinds of recognition. And to see those students just take it in stride and walk across the stage and be introduced was, it's just, they expected that all along. They're just a confident group. And that rubs off, I think, on the whole community. It really does. I was thrilled to be there with our school board chair, Scott Nelson, and he was very well received as he presented the scholarships from the school board that we provided. And was that 5 or 6 of those?
We had 5 scholarships that we gave out.
And the crowd pretty much cheered when the chairman of the board stood up to announce those. And then I got to hand them out like, somebody's got to do the dirty work. So I got to hand them out. But it's not dirty work. It's a thrill. It's like giving diplomas at graduation. It's a thrill that those of us who are allowed to do that can become very close in a relationship with a student body that year after year after year after year believes in excellence and pursues it. And it's just too bad that things like a pandemic have to interfere and spoil our fun in any way. We won't let that happen. And you can tell from those cream of the crop students by GPA, they're not letting that slow them down. They're not. And they love getting more than a 4 point. And to have that available and then to celebrate it, it was really, it was something that I'll remember for a long time. So if you ever get a chance to, I guess anybody can go to those, but Scott and I were both there.
Yeah, it was a wonderful experience. We're grateful to have been able to do that, Cliff, and thank you for being there.
And Debbie Brownell had done a lot of field work on the school board choices for scholarships.
Yep.
And I guess she couldn't be there that evening, but she had done all the preparation work, so
she's out camping.
It was a great celebration.
She's doing her outdoor schooling, camping out in the forest of Appalachia, I think. So I think the numbers that I remember, we gave out over $500,000 as Josephine County and 1.4 million, 1.5 million in total scholarships for all of the kids that they received. And so it was a great night, and we are proud of our students and what they've accomplished. So thank you very much. Anything else?
You did a great job as chair.
Thank you. Brian?
Yeah, I just had a quick budget-related question. I think it's House Bill 4030 that has the retention grants. Did we just allocate those to general fund, or did we have a plan for those funds?
I can speak to that, Sherry. I met with Danny and Todd are in the process of filling out that application. We met with both association representatives regarding prioritizing the funds for that. And so they are specifically earmarked. They are not necessarily general fund, although we may have to account for them in the general fund. Sherry could answer that. We are looking at how can we keep elementary class sizes down, how do we address student behavior. Ultimately, that's ensuring higher staffing levels. There is an attempt to, classified staff are very hard to recruit and retain right now. So looking at cash incentives for those in the fall and then again in spring, about January-ish, tend to be the end of summer is when most educators are running thin in their pocketbooks. So trying to recognize people in early September. Particularly classified staff at this time, as well as in January when it's the longest stint between paychecks as well. So a variety of pieces there that we talked with both associations about in trying to keep those class sizes small and the behavior support and incentivizing. So the plan is being submitted here very soon. Todd's started on that already. And will be completion soon.
All right, great, thank you.
All right. If there's nothing else, we'll move on our agenda to our action items. 6.1, second and final readings of policies and ARs. I think we will take each of these one by one, as we have one member of our community who'd like to speak to the second one. So we'll take 6.1.1, approval of policy IB, freedom of expression. And you'll notice that each of these policies are required. So I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Member DeLagrange, so moved.
Member Kuhlman, second.
It's been moved by Brian and seconded by Cliff. And any further comments?
I have a question. I don't know who, on the second page, the third page, it says, number 5, was there bracketed language on violates federal law or state or regulation? Are there other?
No, that was not bracketed. That was part of the.
There was no option?
That was part of the required.
Okay. Kind of uncomfortable with regulation. Is it different than, can somebody speak to federal law, state law in the meaning or definition of regulation?
I don't believe we can at this time. We will get back to you on that particularly. Typically, regulations are provided by regulatory agencies, and so I think we would need to dive deeper to better understand that.
Thank you.
All right, well, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries.
Me, yes.
Was that a yes or a no?
That's a no.
No. All right, we have one no, and I didn't hear Debbie, but we have 5 yeses. So,
Debbie said yes.
thank you, Debbie. 6.1.2, approval of policy IGBFA-AR special education. Mona, you would like to speak on this item, is that correct? So we'll give you 3 minutes and you can address the board at the microphone.
My name is Mona Pignon. I am a community member and advocate for the disabled community. I have a son who, at the age of 4 months old, was paralyzed by a cancerous tumor. Forgive me, kind of nervous right now. And he's currently a high school student at Grants Pass High School. He's in freshman. I want to talk today about the person behind the IEP, their people. There's regulations that you follow and check boxes that you go through, but sometimes the person gets missed. The transition from elementary school to middle school was horrific. And then going into high school, just a lot of disappointments as far as advocacy, awareness for the disabled community. I want to bring awareness to the need of inclusion on the Grants Pass campuses for high school and middle school level. I think there's a little bit of a disconnect. Mr. Blanchard talked about the people behind education and the passion that they have. A program in particular for Grants Pass High School is the band program. Isaac, it's pretty much the only activity Isaac can do on campus. There are no inclusive sports, anything. Since he was a little guy, I've been trying to advocate for something here in our town. But the need, wasn't that big. And although I had suggested maybe basketball, where all his peers could participate, it was just there wasn't enough room in the schedule for, it didn't fit. It never fit. But with band, he can do band. Isaac disappears when he's playing. He was playing the bass drum in middle school. And when he got to the high school level, he had to change his instrument because the band director did not have enough time to incorporate my son in his program. Most recently, and why I'm here today, is because yesterday I got a call from my son, who's a big advocate for himself, and arranged with Mr. Norfleet to have somebody help him so he can march in the Boatneck Parade. It's really important for him to be able to do that. And I got a call to pick him up from school because they didn't have help for him. If you're familiar with Section 504 of the Disabilities or Civil Rights Act, it specifically says that no person should be excluded from any program that has state funding. There's some points that I want to make, and hopefully I, as a community member, can help the board and future staff navigate this process. I've been a great advocate in the community and in the schools, and I'm to the level where dealing with things in the surface is not beneficial because there's a root issue that we need to deal with. Staff and support staff, extracurricular activities, electives such as culinary. He's in culinary. He couldn't even reach a prep table, do anything like that. Everything had to be brought to a separate table, which to me is exclusion. He's not with his peers. Building accessibility it wasn't until his joystick broke off of his wheelchair that I've been talking about automatic doors. And it wasn't until he had physical harm to himself and to his wheelchair that now this summer automatic doors are being installed. And then just the transition from elementary to middle school to high school. How can we as a community treat people with disabilities as people, because they are people? He's my person. And I love this community. I love this town. I've invested lots of hours working alongside of some of you to raise awareness. And I'm sorry, but this just happened yesterday and I haven't had time to process. Isaac was let down yesterday by our school district. He was let down by staff, and I was told by one of the staff members, a support staff member to the band person, that it was Isaac's job to advocate for himself, that he's getting at the age where he needs to advocate for himself. Isaac did advocate for himself, and he was told that it was being taken care of. That's just a piece of what I've been dealing with since the transition to middle school. And if you need more information or want to go into more detail of how we can work together, I'm all for working together and helping change things, because there's a root issue. And we're talking about inclusion. We talk about inclusion all the time, but no one thinks about the disabled person. My son didn't ask to be disabled. He had cancer, he survived cancer, and he's a thriving boy. He loves life. In band, he loves music. You don't notice his disability when he's playing. You just don't notice it. And that's all he has. So I don't know if I'm over my time, but.
Thank you, Mona. We do appreciate your comments. Typically, the board doesn't necessarily respond to things, but I want you to know that we have heard you tonight, and while this isn't the best forum for this, we will, as a board, take some action. We will talk with our administrators, and we will see what's going on, and I will ask them to look into that for you.
Thank you.
So, okay.
I just had a question. Has the immediate issue with the parade, is that being resolved, or is that still outstanding?
Thankfully for John Musser, so the band teacher was made aware when we were having issues with competition. He was made aware that all he had to do was reach out to Musser, and Musser would help. We got an email today asking for help. I was included in that email. He wanted Musser to be aware of the issue, the situation. Musser's great. So he does what he can, but like I said, it's a root issue, and we need to take care of the root issue, and we need to educate people.
Thank you. All right, so 6.1.2, approval of policy, IGBAF-AR, Special Education Individualized Program, IEP, which is a required policy. We'll entertain a motion to approve.
Member DeLaGrange, so moved.
We will also take a second if someone would like to give it for us.
Member Brenda Aguilera, approve.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded. Any further comments or discussion? All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Thank you. I don't know if anyone has any issues with the others, we can entertain a motion to approve the rest unless we need to talk about some of them. Okay, we'll do them one at a time for Gary, if you'd like to speak to them. Do you have one that you want to speak to? Okay. So 6.1.3, approval of policy IGBAG-AR, Special Education Procedural Safeguards. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Member DeLaGrange, so moved.
And do we have a second? We have a talkative bunch tonight.
Brownell, second.
Thank you, Debbie. Any further comment? All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Thank you. 6.1.4, approval of policy JFCF, hazing, harassment, intimidation, bullying, menacing, cyberbullying, teen dating, violence, or domestic violence per student. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Member Richardson, I move that we table 6.1.4 approval of policy JFCF.
Because?
Well, that's for the discussion part, right?
Okay, so it's been moved.
I'm curious, I'll second. Member Wilkins.
Is this like poker? I'll raise you just to see what you have. All right, so it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion, Gary?
Yeah, that policy, which is completely being replaced, besides having a number of technical issues related to its formatting, numbering, brackets still in there, that kind of stuff. I'm concerned that this particular policy is going to possibly have some effects for some of the elementary, middle school kids. And so I want to make sure that we've properly vetted this policy before we actually make it our policy. And so one question I would have is which part, of course you replace the whole thing, is the required part of the change? Anybody know?
We can follow up with council regarding legal requirements about this policy.
So your questions then would be the numbering, the bullet points, and how it's been presented, and then which part is required and which part is not required?
I want to know which part's required.
Do you have specifics, Gary, that we can help guide the conversation?
Oh, sure. So I looked at House Bill 2631, which was modifying the ORS that this policy comes from, but doesn't have anything in there about hazing or menacing or mental distress. So I'm not sure where that part came from. Also, we're still on page it's going to be the third page where it gets to notification to parents or guardians. It says the notification is not required if the employee position title, it does part in brackets, so we don't have our whoever we're going to put in there yet. But specifically when it gets to notifications of parents, there's a sentence in the second paragraph that has 3 or clauses, and the first or clause is actually the same as, or essentially the same as bullet number 2. But the third or clause requires all 3 of the 3 bullet things to be true, and all of it's wrapped up into how parents get notified. And since I wasn't easily able to determine when the parents are getting notified, I'd like to take a little more time with this policy until we get it right.
I will have Tanya reach out to you, set an appointment so we can review the policy to create verbiage to your satisfaction.
Thank you.
All right, any further comments? So it's been moved and seconded that this be tabled. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, so we will bring it back for a third reading at our next meeting. 6.1.5, approval of policy JHFF-GBNAA, suspected sexual conduct with students and reporting requirements.
Member Wilkins. So moved. I move that we approve.
Thank you. It's been moved. Do we have a second?
Member DeLagrange, second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further comments? All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. 6.1.6, approval of policy GBNAA/JHFF, suspected sexual conduct with students and reporting requirements. Do we have a motion to approve?
Member DeLagrange, so moved.
Member Wilkins, second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further comments? All in favor, please say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any opposed? Thank you. And 6.1.7, approval of policy GBNAA/JHFFR, suspected sexual conduct report procedures and form. Entertain a motion to approve.
Member Wilkins.
Cassie has made a motion. Do we have a second?
Member DeLagrange, second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. That ends our action items for this evening. Our future meeting dates, we have Gladiola High School graduation on June 8th and GP Flex graduation on the 10th, as well as the high school graduation on the 10th at 4:30 and 7, so a full day, 2, 4:30 and 7 on the 10th. Our next board meeting is on the 14th, and then we have a board meeting on the 28th. Tanya, do we have a date set up yet for our meeting with Doug Nelson?
August 23rd, right?
Okay. All right, so that concludes our business. We will adjourn our session. Thank you, everyone for being here with us tonight.